What's up, jobbers, and welcome to another edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, Nestlemania alongside for the ride is a man that, well, is pumped and jacked for an 83-year-old man to come back and beat Gunther. JC.
Nestlemania, you're last. He already did that, and now he couldn't do it again because he already did the year last.
Right.
But here's the thing, Nestlemania. Let's get into the shine.
Wow.
Da-na. Da-na-na-na. Da-na-na. I mean, look it. We've talked about this for a long time. We knew after that segment they did however long ago that this was coming. And the only question was it going to be in Saudi Arabia or was it going to be in my hometown of Atlanta? And Nestlemania, the main event of Saturday Night Main Event, the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther defends against a returning Goldberg. And I fucking love it because Goldberg is entertaining as fuck. I think this is an interesting thing for Gunther because I think with Gunther, like it's pretty straight laced, like, oh, it's going to be good wrestling. This one, we know that it will be physically impossible for Gunther to make this good wrestling, which means we get to see Gunther do things differently. And that excites me. What also excites me is Goldberg is a walking meme. He's going to fuck something up, and it's going to be great in the internet, and that's all going to love it. 3, the internet's also going to hate it because they're a bunch of loser virgins who can't handle fucking old Bill coming out. So I'm going to enjoy that. And the last reason why I'm going to like it is we're going to get to see Gunther slap the fuck out of Goldberg and his fucking sunken chest. I mean, he already can barely walk. So, yeah, I am super fucking excited for this. I think this is awesome. I absolutely love this. And, so Bill Goldberg's leading the show this week for me.
I mean, the thing is here's what people are going to say. A lot of different negative things. But I will say this. Goldberg is a household name from
He's a draw. He's still a draw.
I think that's the thing is like, and I know it. It's just, but the thing is like, we can say all we want about nostalgia acts and all that shit. But I think the minute that song hits, you forget how much you dislike the situation and you just start yelling Goldberg.
Goldberg.
And you know what I mean? But then the other thing was really funny. I don't know if I just saw this. I don't know if it just happened or if it was just, I just saw it. But Gunther wrote, "Oh, I'm next, huh? I guess I could spare 3 minutes."
This is the thing, like, because Gunther has this in him, and we get to see a little bit of it here and there. But it's just like, this is what excites me about Gunther. It's more like, because I know he can wrestle, and I know he's going to have great matches with all your regulars, but when I get to see him muck it up with Logan Paul and Bill Goldberg, you get that different part of Gunther, and I love that. And it's just like, that's why as he's evolved so much as a three-dimensional character in his career here on the main roster is because he's taken these situations and run with it. And so, like, that's why, to me, like, another one of these is just like, I love the segment he did with Brett. I love the segment he did with Bill back then. And now it's like, this match, like, I know what it's going to be. And I don't fucking care. Here's just one thing, though. NBC is going to have a hard time fitting a lot of commercial breaks during this match. So, people have that to look forward to.
I mean, he had a very ferocious 8 minutes with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania one year.
He did.
8 minutes. Which was like suplexes and spears and God knows what else.
It was literally all finishers. It was great.
I think he actually said in an interview not like 3 months ago, he's like, I can't feel my knee. He's like, I'm a walking mess. So here's my thing. I guarantee you he's going to cry foul after this and be like, I need to be at 100% to have my last match, which I hope is not the case.
This is it. This is in Atlanta. This is a setup. This is a send-off. He's gonna lay down for Gunther, and then he's gonna get a special moment after with the crowd, and that's gonna be it. This is it. This is his send off. It's done, and I think that couldn't happen a better way because you always say you want to go out on your back, and Goldberg's been the one guy where it's like, oh, it's Goldberg. You might not want to do this, but I think from his perspective, and he's looking at it, he's like, well, if I have to do it, I'm glad it's against that guy. So I think everyone wins in this situation.
Do you think there's a snowball's chance in hell that he wins and then Seth Rollins cashes in?
No, this is
okay.
No, because I think the Seth Rollins thing we can when we go to the next part of the shine, I'll get into that. Yeah, you heard that correctly. But we can put a bow on Goldberg first if you have anything else.
You know what's funny to me is I just feel like no matter what happens in the situation, people are not going to be happy. And honestly, my thought is
every situation, a bunch of miserable fucking virgins.
My thought is it's at a Saturday night's main event. It's not a WrestleMania.
Exactly.
It's not at a fucking
Not even
summer.
a crown jewel.
No, it's at a fucking Saturday night's main event. Let it go. It's probably the best situation we could all be in as fans if we have to watch it. And I'm actually looking forward to it because I'm just curious to see what Gunther can do with that.
So
Like-
this is, you hit on it right there. Because from WWE, this is a huge win too. Because you're putting Bill Goldberg on TV, so NBC is going to be fucking thrilled. But you're going to have random casuals coming back to watch it because they can't on TV. But also, like you and I, we're intrigued I'm more intrigued for the chaos. You're intrigued just to see what good they're going to do. Like all these reasons, it's just like, this is a fucking home run. And yes, like you said, this isn't on fucking SummerSlam. This is on fucking cable TV. It's going to have a million commercials. And it's just like, but it's giving us all a reason to watch. And it's the perfect, this is the perfect storm. So anyone who complains about it is a fucking loser, has no life. And just like, it's like, get over it. Like you're just miserable. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Because if not, you're next.
I do want to bring this up before we leave. Our best friend Bully Ray did say that he said that this introduction to Bill was insulting to fans because there was no setup for the match. It just kind of happened.
There was setup for the match. Did you not watch the segment from whatever that was a few months ago?
He just said that there was no reason to have the world title or just a match. I don't even know if it's really for the world title. I didn't. Look at
the one argument you can have is that why, like, because I see some people upset, like, this is why Jay had to lose was for this match. It's like, no, I think they wanted to do that anyways, and this just so happened to slot in that way because they could have easily done this match for a non-title and it could have main evented the show and no one would have batted an eye. But it's also one of those things. It's like, it doesn't bother me in this scenario because, again, I expect Bill to be laying on his back for the World Heavyweight Champion. Win, win, win.
Just in Planet Fluffluga, in a world that doesn't exist, if Bill Goldberg wins, what is it? What is an Earth 2 reaction from JC?
First off, I laugh. But second of all, like my father always said to me, I don't play what if games.
Smart man.
Which is a complete lie because all we do on this podcast.
Yeah,
But no, yeah, I would laugh hysterically because it'd be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those like, I would think it was stupid to have Gunther beat Jay and then immediately lose to Goldberg. Like it's like objectively stupid. But it would be fucking hilarious because the amount of complaining I would just inject it in my veins. I would put my feet up, open up Twitter, and go for a nice scroll, baby. But yeah, that's not gonna happen. So
I think Triple H every once in a while likes to fuck with fans. So I just feel like
this isn't the one.
This probably isn't the one, but I mean, there are some giant middle fingers, I'm sure, that Paul Levesque wouldn't mind throwing these internet marks, in their direction. That's all.
All right, you enjoy the show? It's part of the show.
Part of the show. We should just have a shirt that just says, "You enjoying the show?"
Part of the show.
Part of the show. Part of the show. Yeah. All right, let's go back. You said you teased something to put in the shine. Go ahead.
For the first time in this shitty fucking run from Seth Mid Rollins, they intrigued me because this is actually the second time this has happened. It happened when we can go through all the other stuff later if you want. But to me, all I cared about was that ending and that stare down with Cody. Because obviously, he was kind of playing with Sammy a little bit and he turned on him. He obviously was like, just fuck Jay and like whatever. And like pretty much they beat up every babyface known to man. Out comes Captain WWE, the baby of all baby faces, who obviously Seth has a lot of history with. The man that Seth has been unable to beat since he returned. The guy who has had his number. And Seth just looks at him and calls off the dogs. And to me, I'm like, finally, there is something with this Seth Rollins character that has intrigued me because it comes down to why. Is he just playing possum kind of like he did and he'll eventually whatever? Like that's the simple version. But it's also like, is it an intimidation thing because Cody's owned his ass? Or is there still part of Seth Rollins that him and Cody, what they went through, granted, it was mostly motivated by Seth's hatred for Roman Reigns, but it's like he built up enough respect to him that he's not doing it. But either way, it's like with all these possibilities, I'm like, I'm intrigued because for the first time with this Seth Rollins character that has come out of WrestleMania, there is something a little more going on here motivationally. And it's like, okay, now this is a true mastermind in some way because I don't know what his motivations are. They could be any of those things that I laid out, but either way, like I'm intrigued because why is Cody different? How is this going to play out? And it also leaves the case that, okay, now Gunther's the world heavyweight champion. Seth cashing in on Gunther is a lot less interesting. But Cody beating Cena at SummerSlam and Seth cashing in on him, well, that's a full circuit moment right there, Nestlemania. And even though I'm not a Seth Rollins fan, I'm a Seth Rollins hater. JC appreciates full circuit moments and appreciates good storytelling. And that to me is like, okay, they got a little something here because is that the only, like, it just, there's so many different possibilities. And like, it would be Seth finally getting over Cody. He had to do this to do it. And it would take the thing away where, like, me as a Cody fan, I kind of don't want him to be the one to dethrone Cena because it's just one of those, like, I don't love that anyways. And it's also an easy way for, like, to, you know, create a little like virgin fan hatred there. So it's like, I wouldn't mind it being someone else, but this would be kind of the perfect way where it's like Cody gets it, but then immediately loses it. So either way, I'm intrigued by this whole thing just by that simple stare down because they have a lot of avenues to go and I'm excited to see where they go with it.
Do you think that if Cody does win King of the Ring, that they might have that feeling of like Seth Rollins is the world heavyweight champion, John Cena is the WWE champion, and it's like one of those things, it's like, which one do you hate more? And like that Royal Rumble feel of the choice.
No, because I don't. I hated when they did it then. Like, it was really bad, and I fucking came on here and bitched about it every week because it always was Cody pointing at fucking Roman at the Rumble. I want you, motherfucker! Oh, my revenge! This is the exact same thing. Fucking, he wants his revenge on John Cena. So no, there's no money in that to me. It's if Cody wins King of the Ring, it's clearly, unequivocally, John fucking Cena.
Okay.
I don't know why I added the fucking there.
It just sounds cool.
Yeah, he's kind of a motherfucker, huh?
He's something, all right. I'll give him that. But yeah, I don't know. Anything else that you got that's super, super positive?
We had some meat going on TV this week, Nestlemania. We're going to get to the one a little farther back, but immediately on Monday, that main event.
Whew.
And now, granted, of course, the little guy had to fucking win, which whatever. I'm fine with that. But
how dare you? He's
Sheamus and Bronson Reed. Oh, that was a meatgasm and a half. Oh, we had a squish Uso with those three men. I mean, look it. They're my main. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm a Rusev guy. Always have been. I absolutely fucking adore him. He's one of my like low key favorites of this like era.
Low key, come on.
I've always enjoyed this, but the reason why I was so excited for him to come back to WWE is there's so much meat for him to chew on, and by God, did he get to chew on some meat in this match? Because Rusev's one of those big guys that performs almost better with the big guys. And he does, I mean, before whatever, he's a stud, but like with the big guys, it's just like it's next level. Sheamus is the same way. So you put him in there with fucking Big Bronson. I was just like, this is a fucking, there is so much meat going on here that I'm not even thinking about the eat. Because all I got on my mind is meat, 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 meat.
I was wondering how many meat puns you were going to throw in there. So I didn't know if anybody was going to be a carnivore or if anybody was going to, you know.
I mean, I'm a carnivore.
Filet mignon, perhaps.
Even though I do eat a lot more vegetables now.
You do?
Yeah.
Since your health issue?
A lot healthier since then, but I do appreciate my meat, baby.
He does like slapping the meat.
Oh,
I am curious if we bring it up here because it is adjacent. The amount of fucking gaga at the end of that match. To me,
I actually put the cherry on top with the other part. But yeah, honestly, until the Cody Seth thing happened, this would not have been in my shine because I thought I was watching fucking an AEW pay-per-view. This is what AEW does. It's like all they do is like run out, run out, run out, run out. It's just like nonstop. And I'm watching this. I'm like, WWE usually doesn't go this fucking buck wild with the runouts. But then obviously they won me over with that moment. But yeah, it was a little much. They all for the most part made sense. But yeah, up until that stare down, it was very AEW. And oh boy, I was ready to come on here and be like, but no, they saved it.
So the thing that threw me off, and maybe you can read into it more than I did, but it was Penta, LA Knight, and Sami Zayn, and of course we have the Seth Rollins and the Goons, but there's also Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. It just seemed like there were a lot more baby faces than there were heels in this particular juncture, and it felt like because Seth Rollins and boys will probably be up in a 6-man tag
with the first three.
With the first three people, you would think. But who the hell knows?
One of Cody or Jay has to lose. So, yeah, no, it's going to be interesting because the other thing I think next Monday we might get a little even more payoff to the stare down because I assume Seth and the boys are going to be involved in this Cody Jay thing at some point. they've obviously been targeting Jay, but like I said, they haven't been targeting Cody. So it's one of those things like, how does that play out? But so yeah, no, the run-ins were definitely a little much, but I do think they set up a lot of things here where they have my attention. The Penta and like him and LA Knight, they're just like two of their top baby faces. They not advancing King of the Ring, so I understand why they're doing it, but they were the ones that felt a little redundant to me. But yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see how these King of the Ring semifinals play out, because there's definitely a little extra going on here.
I think the hardest thing for me is I forgot that the semifinals are taking place on Raw and SmackDown. For some reason in my head, I had it.
I thought they were at King of the Ring too. That might have been my fault, because I said last week in this program that's the way I thought it was advertised to me. But then I realized on SmackDown when they started advertising stuff for next week, I was like, oh man, because I would have preferred to just have those there. Which again, that's a lot of matches and you can't have much else. But like, that's the whole point of fucking King of the Ring. But whatever.
It does feel weird because, like, let's say Jay or Cody obviously isn't going, and then there's Orton, and what's the other one?
Orton and Sammy. That's why to me it feels like in Cody and Orton, because it's like there's no way they don't have Orton on it. But I don't know. That's why, yeah, it will be interesting. But again, we've seen with these Saudi cards that they're kind of old school where they will go 7 or 8, 9 matches. So
isn't it fascinating too that it's 4 baby faces?
Not really, because I think you hit on it when you were inadvertently said how there are way more babies than heels. I just think that like there's a lot more baby faces right now in WWE than heels.
That's terrible.
The other heels are kind of busy. Like Rusev and Sheamus are a thing. Like it's one of those, and they're setting up Karrion Kross to face Sami Zayn, but he's not really ready for primetime yet. Like Mello, they're not really pulling the trigger. It feels like there's a lot more. Like we are very babyface heavy, which granted, I think that's just kind of the era we're in. And I think that's why something like this can benefit it, because you can have the baby faces go head to head. But like having it be Cody Jay and Orton Sammy, it's like it sets up a lot of intriguing possibilities. I am actually against the Cody Orton final because I'd rather have them save that. But as we've seen before, sometimes they'll give us the match once and then revisit it 6 months later. So, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
My question to you very quickly, because you did say this and now I'm curious. My thought when I saw it was, I think they may give us Cody Orton. Like in my opinion, it should be, and I'll talk about it later in my hope, but I'll explain it outright. But if it is Cody and Orton, then my thought would be, they're both baby faces here. Are they doing it because Cody right now, and probably for the foreseeable future, at least to the rest of Randy Orton's career, maybe he's going to be the guy that is going to be waving that flag. So I don't see them turning Cody during the rest of Orton's tenure. So is it like, well, we might as well get it while we've got the miles left on Orton versus like, you know what I mean? Like because there's so many people that just like universally love Randy Orton, want to sing the song. It feels like it's just, he's putting out good matches. He seems like he's having fun. Just let the guy have fun. And it just, we may never get what we really truly want, which is the Orton badass, terrible human being versus the baby. Okay.
They just turned John Cena before WrestleMania. They'll turn Randy Orton one more time.
Okay.
Like, I have a lot of confidence that'll happen. But yeah, no, that's why I think it's one of those that hasn't happened yet, because I don't think Orton can turn on anyone but Cody, because that's just like with Cena, that's the only one that'll actually have the effect. Because like you said, if Orton turns on Sami Zayn, people are like, it doesn't have, you know what I mean? Like Sami's a huge beloved babyface, but like not Cody Rhodes right now. Like, you know what I mean? That's why Cena had to be with Cody. Orton's kind of the same way, and their history just makes it next level. But yeah, I think we'll get that. But yeah, no, it's I would prefer. I mean, I Cody Sammy makes the most sense to me. Like if I were booking it, because those are the two that I think should be challenging for world titles at SummerSlam. But I think your Jay Sammy thing is very valid. But I think the Seth thing just kind of, it just seems too easy that Seth is going to cost Jay somehow and Cody will benefit it without realizing. And it will continue this weird thing. Like, because I saw some people even being like, oh, Cody could be on Team Seth. I'm like, that ain't fucking happening. Sorry. But it's just one of those, it's like, I think that intrigue there, if they're smart, you want to keep this Cody Seth intrigue going, whether it's leading to a cash in at SummerSlam or something down the line. So to me, it feels like Cody's a lock for that finals. The other one is the interesting one, because whether it's Sammy or whether it's Orton.
Okay, fair enough. Anything else that you want to talk about in the positivity?
We have another meat match in Nestlemania. We're going back to NXT on Tuesday. Oba. I mean, this dude, is Oba Femi like one of the best wrestlers in the company right now? Like all his matches are bangers. It's insane because you don't expect it. But Jasper Troy in his debut match, the winner of LFG, this was a fun fucking match, Nestlemania.
I think I wrote it in the chat, but also I'll say it here. I said it to you. As I was watching Oba, I mean, I love the entrance. I mean, I think I did it when we were golfing the other day, but like, I love it. And then like, he's so good, but then you get to a point like we've talked about where how many people can you put in front of him that are believable? You have to put him in multi-man matches to make it believable.
Yep.
You know, like all these things to like kind of build up the cachet. But when you do that, you burn through more people. And then I didn't know anything about Jasper, and I just saw him attack him in the parking lot. Like I was sight unseen. I hadn't really like invested myself in LFG. But when I watched that main event, like I said to you, it gave me a sense of Oba was in danger. He may not have lost, but I love that the entire thread of the night was he's in danger. And when that, like the bell rang from, like, you could feel the crowd feeling like, oh shit, is this guy going to debut and win the title? Which in theory probably was never going to happen. But the
NXT is the one show that is willing to do that shit though.
But if you're sensing it to go like, oh shit, like it's NXT. I just feel like there's more of a chance to have like they roll the dice on a lot of shit. So it was so fascinating to me because that was such a great, you didn't need to do a lot, but the kabooms made it like exponentially better.
And it immediately gave Jasper Troy like a sense because there's always like things when guys debut. It's like some of them, they just go on the run of an undefeated streak, which granted, that is a big man type thing. Like usually could have done with Jasper Troy, but sometimes it's just like we've seen it all the time. Like with superstars, just like throw them to the wolves, see what happens. And sometimes it's almost more effective because, like you said, it's like Oba hasn't had anyone that's really tested him. Like he's had good matches and they've been long matches and whatever, but not like this level of someone that can match his size, his physicality, and his strength. And this was the first time that actually happened. So by effect, that's a great fucking debut for Jasper Troy as well. Now they can go let him run the gauntlet, build him back up to Oba as potentially the guy who could eventually dethrone Oba. But yeah, no, this was just, and for all those reasons that you said, it just like, and it's a meat match. Like I very much enjoyed it because like I think Jasper Troy is good. He obviously impressed me. I was rooting against him most of the time in LFG just because I never root for the favorites. And he seemed from day one like it was like him, and then it was like Maxine's boyfriend. It just so happened that they were both on Booker's T teams. So Maxine's boyfriend had to get bounced a little earlier because these two had to face off early on. But it just he stood out, and it was nice to see like immediately HBK. He's the best. He's just like, we're gonna make this guy a big deal, just like that. Boom.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
What do you got? I have things that I like things about them, but I also don't like things about them. So I'm curious if there's something else that stood out to you.
There were little things here and there that I really, really enjoyed. Like Randy Orton winning the Fatal 4-Way and that frog splash RKO was fucking dope. I just thought that was like, what a great, like the finishes to these matches were well thought out.
The Fatal 4-Ways are great.
And they're fun. They're really, really fun. I really love Jacob's promo when the crowd's like starting to really get behind. Like you can start to see when a crowd starts to react to like, know what I mean? And like the whole, like, you know, all gas, no brakes. Like he's got to find his cadence. But once he finds like the Jey Uso cadence of like full letters, you know, like once he finds that cadence of what he's supposed to say, like that, he's going to be a big fucking, even a bigger deal than he already is. Let's put it that way. And I just love Solo in the dark. Like, I just thought that would, like, again, for somebody that, I don't know if he's just like a cat with 9 lives, but when I watch him, I think to myself, when I start to count this motherfucker out, I'm sitting there watching it and going, he's so good. He's like, maybe his matches aren't going to be writing home to me and being like, this is the greatest thing I've ever fucking seen. But when I'm watching him for the facial expressions, for getting beat up and selling, for just all the right things that entertain me. And so I just find him to be completely entertaining. And I feel like every week we come on here and we say all these nice things about him, but like for people who wrote him off and say like, oh, he's never going to be he was supposed to be the guy and now he lost. It's like, dude's still fucking young. He still gets it. And he's doing such a great job with this. And I think he understands his role. And I think when you understand your role, he's got a whole fucking lifetime ahead of him. Like it's gonna work out in his favor eventually. Right now, unfortunately, there's a long line of Samoans ahead of him. But like,
well, just and he understands, like you said it perfectly in the head. He understands his role here, and his role has been to make Jacob a huge fucking babyface, and everything he has done the last couple months and here before WrestleMania has been building Jacob as a great babyface, and that's like one thing. Like Solo just gets it. There's some guys that just get it, and like a lot of them become my favorites because they're usually the heels and they get underappreciated because they're constantly just putting people over. But just like we saw it when it clicked for Dom, when he just got it. We've always seen it with like a guy like Miz. He just fucking gets it. Like he knows the role. It's one of the most important roles in wrestling, and there ain't too many people better than him at it. Solo's worked himself into that category where it's just like, you need me to elevate someone, I'm gonna fucking make it entertaining as hell. But it's also like he's so easy to hate, and he can get the crowd and under his thumb in a second. He learned from the best. He was like watching Roman do it and stuff. So it's just like he's been groomed for this, and he's just like, yeah, like you said, like they kind of dismissed him when Roman came back, and he had him kind of push him down a little bit. But Solo, you know, like most do, he's crawled, he's picked himself up, and now he's got himself in one of the hottest feuds in WWE, and he's putting over his family member. So
I think I wouldn't say he's the most underutilized talent, but there's got to be a knocker category this guy's going to excel in.
Yeah, because he's definitely not underutilized because they're utilizing him,
yeah,
but underappreciated for sure.
For sure.
But as we've seen, especially with Dom this year, we've seen it with Miz. Those guys always get their moments. Corbin, like it comes around. So it'll come around for him too, because like you said, he's still a baby.
Fair enough. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I could put in here, but I think we're good. Get him off my TV, get him off my TV, get him off my TV. Where do we begin? Because I'm sure you've got something you need to talk about.
I mean, first off, it's just a quick note. Why the fuck is Nia attacking Tiffy again? I know they had a good match last time, but dear God, like there's so many women on the roster. Why does Tiffy have to fight Nia for every match? I was just watching this and I was like, they're doing it, getting out of this. This is where I look at it and be like, Hunter's fucking with us. Like, it's just like, how many fucking times, Nestlemania, do we have to do this? So to me, that was just like, why? Why?
I don't think you can do much, like, because it's the Queen of the Ring right now. So I feel like they're stuck in terms of what do you do with Tiffy? Because it was just like, it was very apparent to me very quickly. I was like, this is the bad part of the King and Queen of the Ring, especially on the Queen of the Ring side, is that you don't really have a lot of focus on the women's championships going into these tournaments. And if you don't win the tournament, how can you tell the audience that the person that lost the tournament is viable to take on the champion? Like that to me is like, that's tough.
You could say the same thing about the men's. It's just, they get a lot more treatment. So I don't think it's that. I think it's just like when Cena goes out there and he just gets to cut fucking promo after promo. And obviously they did a title change on the other one with the men's side. But like, yeah, like Io's been kind of like floating around too, but it's just, I think it's just like they don't give the women champions the time like they do the men for like whatever. So but yeah, no, that's definitely, it's weird, but it's just like, come on, like you found a way to keep Zelina interesting by having like start this Julia thing. You find a way to keep the women's intercontinental interesting by having Becky and Lyra do their thing. Have Bayley return there. None of them were involved with her. How the fuck do you not have anything for Tiffany Stratton besides fucking Nia Jax, who she's wrestled literally, I feel like, for the last like fucking year?
Well, you feel that way because they were buddies. For sure.
Yes, but no, it's just like they've actually wrestled for the title like 4 times since the breakup.
Yeah.
Because that's what you cashed in on that and that. Then they did the rematch again randomly like a month ago and entered. It was a good match. I mean, when you wrestle these many times, you should have good fucking chemistry. But God, we're going to do it a fucking again? There's not anyone else? There's definitely people. There's tons of fucking people on this roster.
I don't know. I have no idea.
It's tough. What else you got?
I'm probably going to be, you didn't bring it up in the shine, so I'm assuming that you feel iffy about this. So this might be one of your iffies. Not a tiffy, but an iffy.
An iffy about Tiffy?
An iffy about Tiffy. CM Punk coming out on SmackDown was a nice surprise when he called out Truth. And then he gets the whole thing and he's like, well, you know, when CM Punk talks, it's going to be real. And then he starts talking and he calls him and he's look like a toddler playing T-ball. And I see right through you and I will follow you to Mars if I have to. And like, maybe just as a CM Punk fan, I was thinking to myself, I was waiting for another pipe bombish kind of thing, and I was let down by it. But then there was another part of me that felt like, was this really that great? I don't know. Like maybe I'm a little too hard. Maybe, like I said, maybe the expectation was too high. It was good, and it was exciting to see that they go back and forth and spar. But we only have like a week or two before this is a real thing. So I don't know. I was just kind of like hoping for more. And
I kind of skipped over all this stuff because like I thought it just gets redundant when we're talking about Raw. That one had like the match run-ins. This one had the promo run-ins leading into this later in the night. But yeah, the thing that I wrote down with this, and it just because especially with SmackDown, I feel like I really have to write like a little more detailed notes because it's a little longer, is that I wrote it was very long. I think that's part of the reason that kind of hurt it. He got a little edge here in him, where it just kind of like for CM Punk, like usually his long promos are fine because they're filled with explosive stuff. This one had the lines you mentioned, but it felt like it didn't need to be this long. But he did start it by saying he has a lot to get off his chest, which is fine. But it's one of those, it's just like they did so well with the Cody Cena because they kept saving stuff for the next one. This one, it felt like CM Punk had like 10 years worth of things to say, and he tried to say them all in one promo. And that can be kind of information overload sometimes with these things. Like you have to be careful. Like when you're telling a story, you have to be careful how much information you stack and stack and stack because our brains can only process so much of it. So that's why it's like you mentioned the word pacing, why that is important, and pauses and interaction, because it just kind of lets it settle. But it's also just like, yeah, this feud is kind of rushed because like you said, it is coming up quick. But it's also just like, that doesn't mean you have to try to overdo it. It just felt like to me here, he tried to just say too much. And it made it that it was so much that it made it less memorable just because of the length. So that's part of the reason why I didn't have it higher, because I do think there were good parts of it. There are obviously parts I enjoy of it. I love this old man Punk character since he's been back. I think it's my favorite version of CM Punk for me personally. I've really enjoyed his run. But yeah, this one, I think the length really took away from this one.
I think it's really difficult because you want this to be good. And I think just as we've talked about with John Cena, the wrestling isn't the best lately. And not that Punk's bad, but I feel like this isn't going to be 13 years ago. So it's like, we're going to get a lot of gaga and greatest hits and callbacks, which I'm sure will be fine. And maybe some stupid shit at the end, but I don't know, like it needed to happen, but I almost feel like you said, it did seem rushed, but it also feels like, what are we looking for? I don't know. Like what is really going to satiate us? Like what is going to make us feel fulfilled before we get to something that inevitably might disappoint us? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think part of it was this promo was very one-sided too, because the Cena character is a lot more calculated. But it's just like when you tell me that Punk and Cena are gonna have a promo, I want the back and forth. Right. So I think we're gonna get there probably this week, but I think that's also part of the expectation too, because like you said, the expectation when these two guys are in the ring together, it doesn't get much higher, and that's why like the Cody Cena was the same thing. The expectation was so high, and I was terrified, and I thought they pulled it off. This one, I don't think they pulled it off yet. But again, it's much different because it's leading into a Saudi show, and it just kind of popped up this way. And the other weird thing is you have R-Truth still running in and doing the stuff with Cena too, so that kind of takes away from it. So I think all these factors just kind of made it underwhelming.
Okay, fair enough. Something that I really, really just didn't enjoy, and I was not really excited about it when it started, but then I was really not excited as it transpired, was watching the Motor City Machine Guns taking on the Wyatts. You want to talk about zero chemistry. You want to talk about things just not connecting and not working, and you were watching something unfold there, and you're like, wow, this is a bad day for everybody. Like, I get that they're making the Wyatts scary and like all this shit, and like they're gonna attack the tag team division and they're the boogeyman or whatever. But when I was watching this, I was thinking to myself, okay, there's one, I can forgive a couple of things that went wrong. But as you're watching, you're like, I'm lost. And if I'm lost as a fan and they seem lost in the ring, this is just a bad night for everybody. And it was like, we're the veterans of this division. And I'm like, well, you certainly didn't look like veterans out there tonight, and I just felt like we mock the tag team division a lot of the times because it feels like they're just, and it's not that the people involved, it just feels like they're not getting the focus that they deserve. And then you see this stinker and you're thinking, maybe that's for good reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know how I felt about this last week. I tried not to just trash on the Wyatts because I understand, like, we all love the idea of it, but it just, like, now that they're more of an established, like, within the framework of the WWE universe type thing and not just like a cool little spectacle, and they're going after titles, it's a tougher sell for me. And this match was not a good start because, like you said, this was a fucking shit show. And they're apparently going to wrestle every team in this division. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, no, it's a shame because the SmackDown tag division has been like really good. That's been the part of the 3-hour change in SmackDown I've appreciated. We've got a lot of really good tag team wrestling, and a lot of these teams have got a chance to showcase, but this felt like a step backwards. But we'll have to see how it goes. Again, I'm not excited for this, the Wyatts going after these titles, but it is what it is. I just hope we come on next week and whoever they face next week, it's a better match.
Something else that I really didn't enjoy, and I'll be curious because I'm sure you might fight for this one a little bit more. I really don't know what to think of this Bayley and Becky.
You didn't enjoy this segment because, see, I thought the segment was enjoyable. I understand that there's definitely things we can nitpick with it.
Okay.
But I thought this was actually a very enjoyable, entertaining watch.
Okay.
I just was this was one of the ones when I brought up earlier where it was like, I wanted to put it in the shine, but some of the things that you're going to say, I think I agree with, that it definitely was a little murky, but I thought it was an entertaining segment. I just don't know if it pulled off what it needed to pull off.
I think that's where I'm leading off with that. You know what I mean? And so when I'm watching this, it's like, I don't know if Green Bay had a delayed reaction syndrome or something going on, but it was just like, I was watching Bayley. She's pouring her fucking heart out and she's making all these really good points. And it was like, do you ever watch the video of Jeb Bush when he was like doing something and nobody said anything? He's like, will you clap? God damn it. Like, that's what it felt like. And I was just like, oof. Like, I know they were cheering for her, but then like all of a sudden it just, I don't know, like it just fell out of place for me. And it felt like, in theory, as I have my notes, I'm looking at it, was like, she really did try. Like there was no net. Like I'm not going to say that Bayley didn't try in this promo. I thought she did a good job. And again, Becky does whatever Becky does, but I don't know. There's something about it that just felt off to me. And I don't know if it was like the crowd wasn't clicking with Bayley or the crowd didn't know really how to respond to these things appropriately in the fast fashion it needed to be to make it a better promo. Like, I don't know. I don't have the answer for this. I'm just saying as a fan watching this, I was like, I'm enjoying this, but I think the crowd took me out of it because they weren't giving Bayley the right amount of respect and reaction to what she was saying. So maybe that's it. And then of course, this is my biggest point, takeaway that I can have. We can shit on Becky Lynch all day long. God knows I could do a whole hour, but I will say this much. She did a great job coming out with the Bears gear. That was a nice little touch. I enjoy her like boxing into the fucking ropes when someone's yelling at her. I think that's wonderful. But then she had one fucking line that I was like, that's a shitty heel. That's a shitty.
You are gonna like this.
This was a shitty fucking thing for a heel to say, which was, and it might be a different line than you're thinking of, but to me it was like, well, the crowd loved it. The crowd loved that I did this, and the crowd loved that I did that. And I was just like, that is the stupidest thing you can do as a heel to acknowledge that the crowd is cheering for you. In my opinion, that makes it feel like you're exposing yourself and your opponent to the audience, that the person you're fighting against is not getting the same reaction or even close to the same reaction as you, and you're not doing your job good enough to get booed so that the other person can get cheered. And that was why I was not happy with it. Was there another line that you were talking about, or did
I think it was just like that overall, because like I thought Becky, besides that, because I do agree with you there, I thought she did a pretty good job in this segment. That was why I said like it's hard for me not to call it entertaining. But yeah, no, there's definitely something off with the Bayley thing, and I think that it's one of those we just went through like the Bayley redemption last year where she won at WrestleMania. She got a babyface moment, whatever. And she obviously like had a pretty not great title reign. Didn't really have much happen. Went away and it's just kind of been like in this weird purgatory. And then obviously she gets left off WrestleMania. That should build up some cachet, but she's like returns, get one over on Becky. I just think this promo, like the message of it was a little misplaced maybe. It's one of those like this would have come off better like when Becky just like one-upped her maybe the week before or beat her up. But I understand they're fast-tracking it. So also that crowd was a little off all night, but it's like Green Bay. It's like it's cold up there. They love their Packers.
It's fucking summer.
They're all owned, yeah, but yeah, it's different. It's Wisconsin, bro. They like cheese and they like the Packers. Like I don't know what to tell you.
Listen,
but
it's still summer.
It definitely hurt the segment, the crowd. But yeah, no, I think again, this was one of those things where it's like I don't want to say rush because I don't think it's rush, but it's just like I don't know if this was the right point in the feud to have Bayley pour her heart out at this point. You know what I mean? Because she literally just came back and she was the one who got the one up on Becky the week before. I think, especially for a babyface, when they do this heart pouring out thing, it has to come off like them really being down because then you already have that nice cachet built up and the crowd already feels bad for you. So I think it's a mix of all those things, but I will say I was entertained by this segment. I think these two, there is some good chemistry in there. We see glimpses of it. They just got, I think the Lyra like being on the side kind of like is an intriguing factor too, but do I have faith they're going to fix this and bring it home? Probably not because it's a women's feud. And as we've seen, unless if the women do all the work, WWE doesn't really help them out much. But yeah, and I that's why I was torn on putting this in because there were parts of it I thought overall I enjoyed it. But at the same time, I do understand it was very flawed.
Okay. Anything else that's heaty or you want to get Hope?
We didn't talk about yeah, no, we can get the Hope.
Okay.
Glorious.
You're my only hope. Would you like me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. So mine is the King of the Ring men's quarterfinals, finals, semifinals, whatever you want to talk about. Anyway, the last Final Four. We have Jey Uso taking on Cody Rhodes. We have Randy Orton taking on a Samuel Zayn. My thought here is, as much as everybody, including your favorite co-host JC, saying it's probably going to be Cody and Randy Orton, I'm going to go the other way here and say that it needs to happen. I think it's going to be Sami Zayn versus Jey Uso in the finals because here's my thought process. I think you can get away with a Randall and a Cody being in different things on the program. I think it would mean a lot for Sami to win. And I think it would mean a hell of a lot more if Sami had to beat one of his best friends. Now, I know Cody could slide in and you can make the case for the Cody and Sami and all that shit, which I'm sure could happen and whatever. But for me, I think it would be more heartbreaking for both Jey and Sami for an emotional standpoint based on the way everything transpired in the bloodline, to them being friends, to them being like soul bros and just like the whole fucking handshake and always having each other's back, to being like, Sami didn't get to the mountaintop yet and he has to beat his best friend to do it. Like, to me, I think that's an emotional thing right there. And it's just, if you're going to do it that way, which I would find incredibly entertaining, that's the way to do it. Because if you put him up against Cody Rhodes, I feel like Cody doesn't need to get King of the Ring to get to Cena. And I feel like Sami's been talking about the World Heavyweight Championship for so long that it just seems like a good piece of business right here. And Randy's just Randy. He's in that Shawn Michaels echelon of like, he doesn't need anything. He's fucking Randy Orton. Like being against Randy Orton is good enough to like do whatever you want in this world. And Jey Uso just came off of, the biggest run of his life. So to me, I think that's my hope, is that Jey has to beat his one best friend and then he has to face his another best friend and lose, because I think that's the best way to go. And then you can then you can get back to the cross shit, if you need to buy time before inevitably you get to SummerSlam, because we still have, I feel like there's probably 6 weeks before end of King of the Ring to SummerSlam. Like, it's 6 weeks. And so it feels like that. So we got to have a couple mini feuds here, regardless of who wins this thing. So that's my hope. Samuel Zayn versus Jay Uso in the final.
Put Dom's comment on the screen. What does it say?
Sammy isn't winning anything ever.
He might be right. If history tells us anything, Dom might be right. And look, like I've said, like it's one of those, like I think the trail has been kind of set there. But given these opponents, like the more we spell it out, it's like, do I really? I mean, I don't even know if it's believable if Sammy's beating Orton, unless if like something happens. So it's like he's probably already out there. But then it's like if somehow he does, and if he faces Cody or Jay, how the fuck is he beating Cody or Jay? Like, I mean, it's one of those, because if Seth runs in, he's like, he hates Sammy just as much as he hates Jay. So it's just like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh man, Dom might be right. Sammy might just not win anything ever. That's just might, you know what I mean? Maybe he has to go to AEW like Daniel Bryan to fucking cap off his career. But no, I don't know. It's this King of the Ring thing. It's crazy. It's weird. And I know you just said that you don't. I agree with you. Cody doesn't need it to face Cena, but how many times do we see the person doesn't need to win the Rumble, or the person who doesn't need to win Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins, win fucking Money in the Bank? So King of the Ring is the same thing. I don't mean to shit all over your hope, but I'm going to shit all over your hope.
That's literally for 400, and I'm going to say 73 because I think there's a couple of times you've missed, obviously. 473 times you've shit on my hope. So, you know.
Yeah, have better hopes. Like mine.
Hold on. Before you go to your hope, I just want to say you're aligning yourself, and I love Dom. So, Dom, this is out of love, not hate, my friend. He was in the Jobber Knocker thread and on Twitter saying that AJ Styles has the same career as Shawn Michaels in terms.
I'm not siding with Dom. I just want
I'm
to
just saying,
comment and say he might be right. Look,
I'm
Dom
just
and I
saying.
get in the battles all the time. That's why I love Dom, because Dom has opinions.
Yes.
And I love people who have opinions, because I respect you if you have opinions, especially if they're unpopular opinions. That doesn't mean I'm not going to shit all over them, but I respect the hell out of it. So that's why I love Dom. So he has an opinion on this one, and I'm just saying he might be right.
I'm just saying, when you say that Shawn Michaels and AJ Styles are in the same fucking neighborhood.
Yeah, he ain't right about that one. And look,
but Jesus Christ,
he ain't right about that one. But
you know what? He should be a producer on this show. I'll say in the ring. Okay, look, still not even fucking close, Dom. You should be a producer on the show, because the amount of things you come up with are great fucking takes. In terms of discussionary takes, I think you are onto something.
My favorite is like on a weekend night where I'm a little drunk and I go in and Dom and I just start going back and forth. I'm like, I could do this all fucking night. I'll stay up for this. It's so much fun. It's the best.
When you can wax poetic about
what's his Twitter handle? At Dommy Feds 33. Is that right?
I believe so. Yes.
Look at that. I can memorize shit sometimes. But my
Nestlemania,
I'm fucking great. Look at that. Shout out Dom. Speaking of Dom, his lady, not our Dom, but a different Dom, Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan hurt her shoulder instantly in a match with Kairi Sane. And that was a bummer, because obviously they're building her as a centerpiece to Evolution, whether it was a one-on-one Nikki Bella or a tag team match with the Bellas for the tag titles, which I kind of thought it would be. And as they said, dislocated shoulder on the broadcast pretty quickly. That could be a 2-week injury, or that could be like a 4-month injury. So wide range here. Hope it's on the shorter end, but it does leave an opportunity for a hope here, because sometimes in WWE, you got to make a mountain out of a molehill. You got to make lemonade out of lemon. I'm fucking all this shit up. But you get the point. Sometimes you got to take a situation and you can capitalize on it and you know, make some fucking freshly squeezed lemonade. Who doesn't love lemonade? It's hot right now. Hot summer. I love some fucking lemonade in my gullet to follow up my meat, you know? And you can put a little lemon on your meat if you have some. Oh, and it's like seafood. Oh man, I'm getting hungry now. It's 9:30 at night. I can't be getting hungry. But yeah, my hope, it's pretty simple. Nestlemania. Liv Morgan's currently a tag team champion with Raquel Rodriguez. Finn Balor's brought in Roxanne Perez to the Judgment Day to fuck with Liv Morgan. And the one person who's kind of like stood by her side of the winner is Raquel. But now we have the opportunity where Liv's out. If Judgment Day wants to keep their tag titles, Roxanne's probably going to have to step in. And we'll have Roxanne and Raquel defending the titles. And this obviously sets it up where Roxanne could try to move it on Dom with Liv. It's just like the storyline kind of writes itself, which is why a couple virgins on the internet are screaming work. But yeah, I doubt it's a work. But you can turn it into something good out of it, storyline-wise. Because the storyline could possibly have headed this way anyways, but losing the Liv Nikki stuff hurts, because Liv did a great job last week. But this is how you make it interesting. You have Roxanne come in, and obviously that creates the dissension when Liv's come back. And then from there, you go wherever you want with it. So it's great for Roxanne. It's great for Liv. And I think Raquel can really be the one that kind of solidifies this. Because like I said, she's been the one that has stood by Liv and not wavered and still held against Roxanne. But now she's going to be in a situation to protect the Judgment Day and their tag team titles. She has to befriend her, and they could build a relationship. So that's intriguing to me. So hashtag JC knows. Hashtag JC hopes come true. Roxanne slides in for Liv, figuratively and literally, Dom. And yeah, we get this thing going.
I'm not shitting on your hope. I'm just saying it seems like it's probably going to be true.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I find the one thing I find hilarious is that these tag titles.
Oh, they're forgotten.
Not only that, JC, we just had at WrestleMania a tag team partner get hurt, quote unquote, and be replaced. Mm-hmm. And before that, we had Naomi replace Jade because she was quote unquote
cursed, bro. This has been happening with these titles since it fucking started. Literally, if you go back and look at the lineage, this isn't the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth. These shit things are fucking cursed. They've been fucking cursed.
It's unreal that it's like the substitutions in these things.
But this one, storyline wise, you can make it make sense. And so sometimes it's just like the universe tells you, hey, Triple H, I'm going to give you a better booking plan. Fuck the Bellas.
Oh, you can look, but you can't touch.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I can't wait for Spray Money. The song they play in hell.
I'm telling you.
They might have to scrap that now because without Liv, like, where's the juice here? You know?
Well, Nikki Bella's sitting there with her fucking.
Nikki Bella's definitely doing something at Evolution. So, but we'll see. We'll see how they pivot that part of it because that part of it is a little more challenging. The Judgment Day stuff, this works perfectly. But the Nikki stuff, it throws a huge wrench in Evolution.
You know, Papa H hates the word pivot, right? Pivot. I want to so badly find the clip of Triple H saying he hates pivot with the Friends. Pivot. Oh man. All right, it's time to get comebacky. It's time to get the comeback going. I will say this much. I was excited. I didn't know it was going to happen, but the minute the fucking song hit, I was like, let's fucking go. I'm giving it to Asuka. Just watching her make her entrance down with the fucking shit in the face. And then she took the mask off, and I always pop for great face paint. She's always had amazing face paint, but the way it was on Monday, I just felt like that's fucking cool. It had like glitter, but it also looked terrifying. And then she's terrifying, and the song looks great. And she got a big dub, and then she got to scream at the top of her lungs. The Defier is still alive, and I'm like, let's hope they can build off of that. Because in my head, I'm like, well, I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do with her, but god damn it, let's go.
Is she the dark horse to win Queen of the Ring and challenge Io at SummerSlam?
You know, that's quite a possibility. I forget who's in the. Is it? Because it's
her and Roxanne from Raw, and then it's Jade. I think it's Jade and is it Jade and Roxanne? I think is so. I'm assuming Jade will win. I think this is leading to a Jade Queen of the Ring, but then it will be Alexa and Asuka. I could see Asuka winning that.
Do you think there's a world we can live in where like Jade and Sami Zayn win and then get immediately cashed on in like the same night? Like it feels like Triple H would do that. I don't know.
He does hate Money in the Bank, so,
right?
But it is like it's also one of those like it feels, yeah. That's but then again, SummerSlam's 2 nights, isn't it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you really think
he's going to do Jade on Saturday, and then do the main event, Cody?
You're gonna fuck them both. Like Jesus,
yeah.
You know.
But you could also do the thing where you like save Jade for like the next show or whatever. But yeah, no, it definitely this feels like it's felt like Jade's Queen of the Ring because they've been kind of hinting at the like Jade Tiffy like super like youth like the prospect title match. They've been hinting at it, and Jade would look great as a queen because she already is a queen stud. But I think Asuka could be a dark horse here because Asuka and Io, like obviously the damage control is dead since they fired Dakota Kai. But it's just one of those like that's an easy one right there. And especially like, I mean, you can always use more heels. I could see Asuka turning heel on her or something too. So I think it's interesting. I think she's an interesting dark horse because we know Triple H has always been very high on Asuka. So I don't think he'd be afraid to pull the trigger on her pretty quickly.
Okay. Okay.
My comeback, Nestlemania, we're going to the Raw commentary team. Last week we had Wade Barrett, but I thought, oh no, we're gonna have some bad news. It's not Barrett this week, as McAfee was at the finals game. But we got Corey Graves, and Michael and Corey Graves were a very good tandem, always have been. Obviously Pat is just larger than life, so that's why they did it. But for one night on Raw, it was nice to have Corey Graves back because I've always enjoyed Corey Graves' commentary. And it was nice to have him back, and I'm happy for him. I was happy for that duo for just one night, so he's getting my comeback.
All right, then. Good enough.
Big old
Time
finish.
to get to the big old finish, baby.
SmackDown this week, we have Cena versus R-Truth. And this is the funny thing. They're still calling him R-Truth, even though he's calling himself Ron Killings. WWE keeps calling him R-Truth, and I think that's fucking hilarious. They're thirding him as R-Truth. Cena's calling him R-Truth. They're calling him R-Truth on commentary. I think it's fucking hilarious.
Do you think this is an actual match?
I don't know what I think it is. I mean, it's one of those, like, it's tough because now we're at the point now where it's like, once Truth is done with Cena, we talked about this a lot. What's he going to do? But it's also just like, I don't think I need this match again. For being honest.
I just don't know exactly what we're like. Cody already pinned him, like pinned Cena. So you can't have Truth pin Cena.
No, she's not. This is not. It's either like you said, like this match won't happen, or Cena just fucking beats him. Probably cheats. Like he probably low blows him like he's done, but Cena, like, he's a heel. Like, that's how heels win. And heels end feuds by cheating. I see it all the time. Roman did an entire fucking reign of it.
I don't know. I am curious to see what happens. I have a feeling that if it's...
Are you, though?
I'm curious to see how it ends.
Are you, though?
Just a little.
I think this is just in the way of Cena and Punk. I think it's just clutter, for being honest.
So maybe Punk just fucking comes in and gives him a GTS and we're done with it. So I don't know. I'm trying to be hopeful with it because I do want to see Ronnie do something cool here. I think he deserves it, but I don't know. It's tough.
My doubts. We also have two King of the Ring semifinals, which we've talked profusely on SmackDown: Orton and Sammy, Bliss and Asuka. I will officially predict Orton and Asuka. What about you?
I'm gonna go with Samuel. I think he's gonna get the big dub here.
I hope he does. I hope you're right. What about woman?
What was it? Asuka and who?
Bliss.
Pick Asuka. I'll go with Asuka.
Yeah, I feel like that makes sense. We get over to Raw Nestlemania. We have an Intercontinental Championship match between Becky and Bayley. Schmoz.
We're gonna get a Valkyria sighting, I assume, at this point. So,
yeah, probably to save Bayley after Becky cheats, and then who knows if they do a triple threat at Evolution or what they do here. But that would intrigue me. I'd be cool with a triple threat. We also have the other two King and Queen of the Reign semifinals. Jade Cargill takes on Roxanne Perez, and Cody Rhodes takes on Jey Uso.
I'm gonna stick with my Jey Uso theory.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Cody, and I'm gonna take Jade.
Jade seems like the slam dunk. So,
yeah. Roxanne doesn't need it, especially now that she's gonna have to be Liv. So,
watch me.
Watch. We always watch.
Easy.
I mean, I went an entire episode without mentioning Stephanie Vaquer.
Well, she didn't win.
I know. I just wanted to mention her.
You want a moment? Okay, all right.
Yeah. If her and Lil Vice ever tag team again,
will you stop?
They should be the tag team champions. It would make those titles a lot more interesting.
They probably be cursed. They'll probably. You want to curse them too?
No.
I didn't think so. So knock it off. Last thing we need is another.
Lola's wrestling tonight in NXT. I can't wait to watch this. Like, there's like 4 women's matches. I'm excited.
They have like 16 matches in NXT. It's ridiculous.
It's great. It's a great show. It's the best show, fucking wrestling show on TV every week.
Well, we go.
Unlike the other show that you're going to make me talk about in 30 seconds.
You ready for this laughable bunch? No. Here we go. And I mean this with all sincerity. This is laughable in my opinion. We're going down to Mexico, folks, because we're doing Grand Slam Mexico. Listen, ready for this shit? No. We are going to have a 4 million pesos high-flying four-way. Leo Rush, Hologram, Ricochet, and I'm going to fuck this name up, Mascara Dorade. Dorade? Yeah. Sounds cool, but holograms in it.
Tell me why I should give a shit about this.
I'm wondering the exact same thing. It's 4 million pesos. What is the equivalent? What's the currency exchange here? Anybody know what a peso is?
I gotta find out because I'm going to the DR in a couple months. I gotta get some pesos so I can.
Well,
tip.
find out what 4 million pesos equals. I can't do that right now.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Okay, fine. Anyway, moving on to something else here. This is a fucking great one. I can't believe we're fucking doing this one. It is the Death Riders and the Young Bucks against the Ops, Will Ospreay and Swerve. That's right, folks. In a
10-man tag.
10-man tag. That's right, folks. 10-man tag. We also have MJF versus Mystico. Mystico versus MJF might be interesting. I don't know. But
I mean, anything MJF does is interesting, but we fucking really talking about fucking Sin Cara right now.
We also have the lovely Mark Briscoe taking on Okada.
Skip.
We also have Zeus versus Monet. So I don't know why she has an affinity. This woman named Zeus is taking on Mercedes. I don't understand what her affinity.
She likes to wrestle everyone. So and Tony lets her wrestle everyone.
Literally. I'm not saying tomato can because I don't know enough, but like
probably not. She's probably like the best woman they have in this promotion because that's what Mercedes likes to do. She likes to wrestle, and then she'll beat them because
I'm sorry, she's the CMLL Women's World Champion, so she's not a tomato can.
It's the best thing. It's the best thing they got. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And Mercedes is gonna beat her because it's her show, and she doesn't lose.
My goodness. I'm gonna stop there because that's 5. There's also some random CML thing they're doing. Because, they had Worlds Collide, so they got to do their own version of it. But
what's bigger in Mexico, CMLL or AAA?
I mean, it depends on who you ask.
I'm legitimately asking. Like, what do you consider bigger?
I'm not saying this because it's a WWE thing. I think AAA is slightly got the edge because of AAA Mania.
And that's where, like, Roosh came from, and a lot of the guys on AEW's roster, like, came from, because they used to have the partnership with AAA.
Right.
Yeah, but look, El Hijo del Vecino was on their show.
You got to check this shit out for the CMLL thing. We got Neon versus Hologram. We got Mascara Dorado versus El Bandito. That's a thing. And then we've got Josh Alexander versus Atlantis Jr. And then this like ridiculous, I'm going to fuck every one of these names up. It is it looks like a fatal 4-way. No, I'm sorry. It's a 8-man tag. Yeah, it's the Don Callis family with other people, and then just random fucking people like with Takeshita.
Is this another 4-hour show?
This is happening on the 17th. So what is that? Tonight somewhere?
Well, today's the 17th.
Yeah, so it's 7:30. It's already transpiring somewhere on Ring of Honor. So
Jesus Christ,
they're really going hard in the paint on Mexico. So
when's All In?
I think July 12th, the same night as the Saturday night's main event.
So
Goldberg is going to outdraw All In. Isn't that crazy?
No wonder we're running circles with these fucking feuds because they just have so much time. Oh my God.
They should have benefited from a small pay-per-view between now and then, honestly. But
I just want to watch people hurt people.
But you can't do that for 2 hours, can you?
I mean, I could watch. What if they had the Hurt Business or Hurt Syndicate on for 2 hours instead of what they do? I think AEW would be more enjoyable. If they did 2 hours of, I mean, I could go a lot of directions with this.
Careful, you might get yourself in trouble.
No, if we had TJ versus like Julia and Sky Blue versus what other woman do they have on their show? They're like tag teams.
I don't think they have any.
I don't know. I was just happy. TJ's back, baby. Oh yeah, they have Dom's girl and Penelope. That's who TJ fought.
Okay.
They might have more women's tag teams in AEW than they do at WWE.
It doesn't matter. They all probably aren't going to get time to do it anyway, so it's fine. That's all it is. Dom has a really quick question saying, any chance Roxanne gets a surprise win and it's Jade versus Zelina for the U.S. title? Where the fuck is that
because they're doing Zelina Julia right now. That's what they're leading up to. So
okay.
Jade's going straight to the top, baby. Ain't no mid card for Jade. She already did a mid card title in AEW. So
okay,
but now it's like their main title. So
all right. Anything else? You want to get the fuck out of here?
Let's go.
All right.
Dun, 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 dun.
Way to go, Ska Boy. On that note, thank you for listening and watching the Jobber Knocker podcast. We'll be back next week, folks, with some more Jobber Knockery.